So we actually gonna.
Yeah, we are live now. Let me turn on my light. All right, what's up? What's up? It's John here from JJSC Tech, and this is a overdue, well overdue second episode of the Cinematographer's podcast. We got the one and only none other than my man Kev. Kev, how are you, bro? How are you?
Good, I'm good. What's up, John? How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm chilling. This is way overdue, bro.
No, I know this is like yesterday or maybe last year overdue. Not to exaggerate, but yes, it's overdue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it feels good to be back on here, man. It feels good. It feels really, really good, man. I can't even, it's feel good to connect with the people once again. I see you've been doing your thing, man. I've been watching every Sunday, man. Good work, man.
Oh yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. Like the ideas, they hard to come by. Like if you're doing that thing on a weekly basis, man, you gotta really plan because it's difficult.
Yeah, I believe that. Trust me, I believe it 100%.
All right. So tell us a bit about your setup because right about now, my setup is a little darker because I had an ND filter on. I might turn that off, but tell us a bit about your setup.
All right, so low-key, I've been working on it a little bit, so I'm hoping you guys like it. You know what I'm saying? So currently, I'm using some lights that I bought from Elgato. They're panel lights. I mean, they're not the best, but they're okay. And as you can see, it works. I'm using one on my right and one on my left, and I have them angled in a certain way so it would not make my face seem too flat, right? So and I currently updated to Shure SM7B for my audio. The last time, if you guys watched the last video, I was using a Rode NT5, which wasn't too bad. But hey, I went with the flow. Everyone's using a Shure. Why can't Kev use a Shure, right? But at the end of the day, gear does matter, That's for you, John. That's for you. That's for you, man. Yeah, now basically that's my little setup. And yeah, I hope you guys, well, not hope, you guys will be hearing and seeing us a little bit more. You might get sick of us, but we're gonna be on your computer, on your phones, on your iPads, whatever you use to watch streams, we're gonna be there. So be prepared for it.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's good. Yeah, I just turned off that ND and the scene is a little bit brighter.
A little bit brighter, just a little, nothing crazy, but some people might like brightness, but it's nice.
All right, cool. So today, folks, we're gonna get into something a little Nice. This is the Cinematographer's podcast, so we do everything this cinematography, lighting, sound, and video. Today we're going to be comparing different footages that was shot with the FX6, the Blackmagic, as well as the Red Komodo, and we're going to see if we can tell the difference. Yeah, it's difficult.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I was born ready for this, man. Well, at least I think so.
All right. So this is the first video. This is the video that is comparing the Red Komodo to the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. Now, I've watched this video before, but every time I rewatch it, I always get it wrong. So, is this your first time watching this, Kev?
Yes. In all honesty, we didn't practice this. We had time to check it. This is the first time I'm actually seeing it.
All right, let's get it.
Komodo versus the Blackmagic 6K Pro. Let's see what happens. So a lot of you know that I have been using the Blackmagic 6K Pro for the better part of like a year and a half now, and that was my first cinema camera, if you will. And it was a tool that got the job done really well for me. It elevated my work. It made my visuals look better. Everything I kind of wanted out of it, I got out of it. And then things were going really well, and I had the funds to buy a Red Komodo, which I did, and purchased that tool, which is what it is. It's just a tool for what I wanted to grow into, and I seized the opportunity to get it. All cameras are tools that you should use for whatever needs you have, right? There's not one camera that's perfect for everyone. So with that going into this, let's compare these two cameras and see which one comes out on top. But what I'm most interested in is to see if you guys can tell the difference between the two cameras just by looking at a clip from each, which we're gonna do a blind test at the end of this video, so stick around for that. All right, so to kick this off, I'm just gonna go through the pros and cons of each and what...
I'm trying to fast forward until we get to the actual blind test. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Yes.
But here we go.
Here we go.
Let's get into the quiz. Good luck. So,
Camera A was a Blackmagic, bro. I always get it wrong. Always get it wrong. It's not only that, YouTube has compression as well, but the Blackmagic, bro, it's...
And that's what I was kind of trying to check on the consistency between the A and the B shot to see how consistent, because I can recognize that camera B is a little less saturated, not saturated, contrast is a little less contrast in camera B.
Yeah.
I'm seeing on my screen, and once again, I don't know if that's YouTube compression, but has been consistent throughout the B shots. So I'm guessing it might. That's just how that camera shoots.
Yeah.
These are untouched. Well, these images have been touched a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can see with like every time I go back, like this, like the woman shot on the tennis court, like with the highlight roll off. I mean, it's difficult. Like this is camera
Now,
A.
there are times where I like shot A, and there were times where I like shot B. I can't even like. There were times where I did like the higher contrast, and there were times I didn't like it for certain scenes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he got them matching kind of well.
Very well.
But I must say, there's some amateur stuff that's going on because this camera B is blown out and the Komodo can capture that detail.
Right. The dynamic range, of course, will be a lot better. And then if you pay attention to like the mid tones, you can tell there's some kind of artifacts in there when it tried to compensate for the bright light.
Yeah.
In bringing, tell it they're adjusting the midtones and the shadows to kind of compensate for the brightness, and you can tell. I don't know if that's YouTube compression, but you can tell that there's some kind of artifacts in the skin tone, especially from what I'm seeing here. Even in the bright highlights, you could see slightly. If you really pixel peep and look, you can tell like it's not as smooth as the red.
Yeah. Because remember, camera A is the black magic.
Mm-hmm.
And camera B is because even look at the skin tone. The skin tone is a bit more red on camera A, which is the black magic. And it's a
Right.
bit more neutral on the Komodo. But other than
Yes.
that, bro.
And
yeah.
if you look around, like I'm just making sure I'm seeing this right. Yeah. So even if you look at where you're right, where the highlights meets the midtones and the shadows and all of that, it's a lot smoother in transition.
Yeah.
But and you really have to be looking at this to see it.
You really got to be. Let me see the last shot. Like this shot.
If you blink, you might miss it.
Yes.
That's how.
Interesting. I now the thing though, the thing about shooting on black magic versus shooting on red is you don't expose the same way. So go ahead.
You say you expose the same way for both cameras?
No, you don't. You don't expose the same way at all. Because you use the traffic lights for the red to expose. And it might look a little blown out in the shot, but as long as those traffic lights are not blinking, you can adjust it because it's 16-bit versus whatever Blackmagic RAW is. So you can you can get all those details. So I'm not sure if he's shooting the right way with the red. So that's another thing. But yeah, this was the first video. That's a pretty good video. How hard was that?
It was hard.
All right.
And these are so good nowadays, you can't really tell the difference, right? Sometimes you have to really know your stuff to see this, man.
Correct. And we're just gonna get more difficult now. We're doing 3 videos. That was the first one. Let's do the second one, which is like medium, and the last one is gonna be the hardest video. I guarantee it.
All right.
Let me just copy this.
Okay.
This one right here, right? By that, yep.
Here's how auto mechanics remove car scratches
Oh,
in
the
just 90
ads.
seconds or less. This simple but
Hi guys, welcome back. Today we put up two contenders against each other. We've got the Red Komodo versus the Sony FX6. And don't forget to keep watching till the end because I've got a surprise camera to throw into the mix to see what you think. And it's a camera I'm very excited to use. Let's see how they do. So first, before we get into it, I'm going to be talking about the spec of each camera. I'm not going to be going shoots in RAW, frame rates.
I don't know if we need that, my boy. We just need that comparison. Thank you very much.
On the timeline, I think if you look at these cameras side by side, it's similar in terms of the Lumix, I think. How the Sony, the FX6, has a nicer color fresh out the camera. But I found when I was grading these clips, I definitely edged towards the Komodo in terms of I feel like the highlight roll off was just a bit nicer on the Komodo than the FX6. It's tough because we're putting up a camera that's shooting RAW. On the timeline,
Oh my gosh, I messed that up. I wanted to pause right there.
was just a bit nicer
Wait till she
on the
turns.
Komodo than the FX6. It's tough because
This is a good comparison right here. You can clearly see the difference in color.
All right. So I'll see this, right? I'll show you this. I like both images. And yes, there's a difference, but I kind of like more contrast. I do. Like a little bit more. I like those sparkly highlights sometimes. I do. And like I said, for specific scenes. But if you want that nice roll off and you want it to look like this on the left, like the Red Komodo, I think that's what ultimately you get, in terms of the camera. But I kind of like certain aspects of it. Like, not all the time I like my highlights to be low like this. Sometimes I like it punchy like that. But overall, I like the Red Komodo. I do.
I think he could have done something a bit different with the entire shot to make the FX stand out a bit, because it seems like he has the light is a bit harsh because you can just see a block of light on her forehead in the FX.
Yes.
If you was to do probably like a book light and a bigger diffusion, this would have been much harder to tell.
Yeah, it almost looks like a beauty lighting, on the FX6, which kind of works because it's a female, for me, in my perspective. But you could see a difference in the color in the dress. And it would be kind of interesting to know what the color really was. And I'm hoping and leaning towards the Red Komodo being the right choice. And I would go with that because her skin tone looks a little bit more realistic than the FX6. It does, to me.
Yeah, it's a bit more smoother.
You could see that dynamic range kicking in right there, man. You could see it in the windows, in the back. Once again, but you really have to pay attention to it. And then you will see it in the highlights on, what's that she's leaning on, a piano?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see it on the reflections in the piano. But I don't know if it's, once again, I'm going based on what I can see on my screen. The Komodo is leaning towards a bit warmer greenish hue.
Yes, 100%. It has that.
FX6 is leaning more towards like magenta and a little not as warm. More magenta and a little bit less on the warmer side of things.
That's 100% accurate, because I own the Komodo, and the original Komodo, the OG Komodo, which is what he's using, it does have a more greenish hue to it.
Might want to take that back, and I'll tell you why. Because when I look at the first shot, which is the Red Komodo, the background is a little bit like in the bluish end. And then when I look on the background of the FX6, it's a little bit warmer. So now I'm a little confused because I don't know Did they use the same lighting? Was it the same lights? Was it the white balance set right on both cameras? Because in RAW you could correct that.
Right.
The F6 they would have had to nail it on the spot. To me, it looked like they did not, and they tried to compensate for it because the background doesn't match, or they did, and because of the limitation of the white balance of it not being raw, is why it messed with the color in the background. There's a lot to talk about, man. There's a lot to talk about.
We got a comment. He said, now compare all this to the EOS M50.
Okay. Canon trying to get in the mix, man. Canon always trying to get in the mix. It's okay, Canon, get in the mix.
The funny thing about it is that before I upgraded to my glorious webcam that I had right now, I had the no, not the R. Yes, I did have the M50 Mark II. It's not good at color, bro. It's really not good at color. The thing about it, even though I put like a $5,000 lens on that thing, it was not holding up. The colors weren't holding up that well on that tiny camera. It's really good for like creative expressions. Like my blue was a little bit more teal and my red was a little bit more orangey. So if you want to play with colors and etc., yeah, the M50 is great. But if you're on a professional commercial shoot, that will not fly whatsoever.
Is it that particular Canon camera, or is it all Canon cameras?
I think it's that particular camera, because this is a Canon camera that I'm using right now for my webcam. This is the C200, and that blue in the background is much closer to reality than what the M50 was portraying.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And let's continue.
We're putting up a camera.
I'll say it again.
That was a good one. That was a good one. That one was a good one.
Yeah.
That's shooting raw against a camera that isn't shooting raw. You kind of have to take into consideration the data and the size, the file sizes that you're recording, because the red is recording much more data. It's recording a much higher file size, and depending on the kind of work you do depends on whether or not you can store all that data. And we got to the end of the shoot and we backed up the cards, and the FX6 had like 50 gig to back up, and the red had, I think it was about 256. So it's like you're gonna be.
Oh, I am messing this up. It's because this is a little web edit little thingy majig. But I want to ask you a question since you used the FX6. Let me go back to that, because that was a huge difference. With her skin tone is a bit more lighter. This is massive. So I know when you was telling me about coloring for the FX, because the FX3 and the FX is basically the same sensor. You said you had to like overexpose a bit.
Now you don't kind of have to overexpose with S-Log3 as much, or even that much on the FX6. You could kind of like expose it for what it is, because the S-Log3 is that good now. With S-Log2 you kind of had to, but with S-Log3 you don't really have to. But on my FX3, you do have to overexpose. You do, especially if you're not going for the cleanest shot possible. Yeah. If you don't mind a little bit of grain, then you can expose as is on the FX3. But if you kind of want, and that's through my observation, but if you want a clean shot, super clean, you have to overexpose by maybe 1.3 or 1.7.
Okay. Yeah, that's good information. That's good to know. Does it depend on if you're shooting daytime versus nighttime, control light versus outside?
That's I'm glad you asked that question. That's a very good question, because It took me 6 months to figure this out. This is where we said we'd be honest on this channel, right? It really did take me about 6 months. The thing is it takes a while to understand this, but I'll try to explain it the best that I can, because I listened to about 50 people say the same thing, and I didn't really get it until I actually went out and tried it and I saw it for myself. So anybody trying to figure this out, I'm saying go try and figure it out for yourself, and you will get it. So with the FX3 in low lighting, it depends on how much contrast you would like in the image. If you want it to have a higher, more contrast, you would have to overexpose by at least 2 stops. Now, bear in mind, I didn't say to blow out the image. So you're not blowing it out. You're overexposing, all right, by maybe 2 stops in very low lighting. That now will allow you to increase the contrast in post and get you the type of image that you would like. Now, problem is if you underexpose in low light, what happens is your blacks will clip. When you try to boost from that midpoint, your blacks gonna clip because you didn't leave enough headroom in your recording to be able to increase that contrast. Now, when you have bright lights, dark lights, all kind of lights in one scene, you don't have to worry about that because you already have that contrast on scene. Like, for example, shooting in the daytime, it's there. You have darker shades, you have mid-tones, you have highlights in a day scene. You don't got to worry about that. Just shoot for what you see and what you like. For example, if the background is blown out and that's what you want, blow out the background to get the person's skin tone. For example, in the shot that we're seeing here, they obviously did not expose for what's in the window. They exposed for the subject, correct?
Correct.
Because they exposed for the window, then you would have had a more dramatic looking image with an underexposed girl, which is similar to what the FX3 does, but you just have to understand how much do you actually overexpose, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge. You have to understand, should I go by 1.3, 1.7, or 2.0? And that just comes with experience with using the camera. That's it.
Appreciate that. Yeah. That's what this podcast is about. Because we want to get a whole bunch of different shooters that shoot different camera systems and just learn. Because the funny thing about cinematography is, like, when you get a whole bunch of different gigs, the client might want a specific camera. As long as you know how to operate that camera, you good. Mm-hmm. You good. Because one of the most important things nowadays is the lenses.
Yeah. That's a very nice topic. I've been figuring lately. I've been battling with it. I know, man. I've been battling, trying to justify the cost. I mean, I'm working on it. Yeah. I'm gonna get there. I see it. The lenses do make a hell of a difference. They do.
Yeah, because this guy, I think he's using Diesel Vespid Retro, so he's using cinema lenses on both of them, like the same one.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And you could see the sharpness and once again with the compression, but I'm going by comparing both images. You could see that it looks good.
Yeah. So
the Komodo, it was still nice to grade.
This is a good shot.
I like that. I can mess, and once again, kudos to the lens.
His lighting is on point. Like this is what Sony can produce. This is a beautiful shot.
Mm-hmm.
An operator DP are doing a really varied range of work. You're doing music videos, short films, corporate interviews, documentary, you know, even adverts, then the FX6 is a great all-round camera. And, you know, a good friend of mine, films by AW, he's used the FX6 when he's hired in DPs on ads, and beautiful ads, you know. The Red is probably more of a specialist use camera. You know, if you were shooting documentary where you had a ton of footage and you were shooting hours and hours and hours, yes, you can switch to ProRes and you can shoot 1080p, and that is going to save you a lot of data, but it's probably not as versatile as like the FX6. If I just had the money and I could just have a room of cameras, there are going to be jobs that I just wouldn't be reaching for the Komodo for, I would be reaching for the FX6. And likewise, when it comes to certain jobs, there are jobs that I'm going to be reaching for the Komodo and not for the FX6. It's a camera for every scenario rather than a camera that I'm going to pick for all scenarios. Let's talk just briefly, even though it wouldn't have mattered on this shoot because we were using manual focus lenses.
Oh, say it again?
I want you to stop on that shot. I hands down, the Red won on that shot. It won. And you see, for me, it bothers me a little bit because I don't know, why does it look like that? No. I would let me read this thing. FX6 full frame HD ISO 800 2 stops. Okay, so he did use an ND on there. 35 2.8. So he used a 25. All right, so he used two different focal lengths. And is the Red Komodo, that's I'm guessing it's because it's a
Super 35.
Super 35. So he had to go a little wider to compensate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it's good that he stayed with the same brand because they produce the same color. So this is just the cameras doing the heavy lifting.
I've never messed with those diesel lens, but I know sometimes different focal length gives a different coloring sometimes in some lenses. Even with the Nisi lenses, the wider ones, from what I'm seeing, there's a lot more flare. There's, you know, especially in the 14 mil, not so much in the others. But what I'm saying is like, that for me, that looks like the way the light's like washing out her face, especially, you know, Sony is not so much of a lower contrast shooting camera. It looks like something with the lighting is causing that. That's what it looks like to me. That does not look, you know, it doesn't look so much like a coloring issue. Because if you look at her face, you can't even, but then again, maybe he's not even using any light. He's probably just compensating with the camera. I don't think he's using any source of light there.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, because, and if he is, he's good because you're not seeing any reflections on the piano, nothing like that. Yeah, so I think that's just him using it in natural light.
Yeah.
And with that, now I can probably see why it's coming out like that, because like I told you, in a situation like that with my Sony FX3, I'm blowing out that bag. I'm blowing out that light a little more just to compensate for her face. And in final production, then I would try to bring back some of the highlights, but I would not sacrifice, because once again, I'm shooting her. I'm not shooting the light in the background. I'm shooting her. So I would try to compensate for who I'm shooting. And once again, I guess, like he said, you have to know the limitation of the camera that you're using. To me, and you know, if I understand that the FX3 does not have that great dynamic range where I could pull up the shadows, I gotta add in a light, man, because that's what I'm working with, or position her differently, or, you know. But other than that, it just kind of bothers me how that image looks for the yeah. And I guess by now you guys can tell I'm offended because I use a Sony, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't because I've seen a lot of things shot with Sony and they are, dude, it looks really good. So it seems like I just don't know. I've seen some things that were shot with Red. I'm like, do you understand how to use the camera? Do you know how to expose the camera and etc.? So this is a head scratcher. Oh, what's up, Tristan? I gotta shout you out.
But trust me, I get it. I get it. If he's just truly trying to show the dynamic range of the cameras and what they can do, that was the best way to do the test. You cannot use anything but what is available. The light source is available in that scene. If that's what he was trying to do, you know what I'm saying? If he was trying to that point out, and yeah, it's true.
All right. Let's
But the
continue.
FX6 and the Sony cameras, obviously, a lot of them have autofocus built in. And that's a really handy feature, you know, because to some people,
Well, autofocus isn't really a problem anymore because as long as you get the DJI Focus Pro and put it,
How much DJI? How much is it?
it's $1,000, but it can make any cinema lens autofocus.
No, the reason why I pull that out there because y'all red guys be making stuff sound so simple when it's not. Guys, $1,000 to focus. How much does Sony charge us for great focusing system?
It's built in.
Not a penny. It's not a penny. We'll
But-
take that.
But
if
it can only
John,
be.
do you own DJI's focusing system?
No, I pre-ordered it. It's back ordered right now, so I'm gonna test that.
Come on, yeah. All right. So you think it's gonna be working as I have to put that out there. I mean, Sony took enough hits in the last couple seconds. Do you think it's gonna be just as good as Sony's focusing system?
So there's some YouTubers that are saying that it's almost as good as Canon's, and you know Canon's autofocus is like a bit below Sony. So that says a lot because it's using lidar. So with lidar, it works really good in daytime and it works pretty good at nighttime. It's way better than Red's autofocus, I can tell you that. And the thing that is a big deal about it is that you can put it on cine lenses. Now, even if you put a cine lens on a Sony, it's not going to autofocus. But you have this on that, it's going to start to autofocus. And it's really good. When the person moves out of frame and comes back into frame, it doesn't focus hunt as much. It's pretty good.
Gotcha.
So imagine that on something like a Takina Vista Prime that's autofocusing. Oh my. Oh my. So, but I'm gonna test it though. When I get it, stay tuned. I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna do some tests and see how good it is.
Yeah, definitely.
people that's going to be a big reason to buy a camera. And that's another thing we should talk about. You know, this is
That last shot was the FX6?
Let me see. Yes.
It don't look that bad here, you know.
It don't.
It's just a little magenta-ish, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So from the distance, maybe the small frame it look bad, but it don't look that bad. So you can keep moving. It really don't.
Yeah. Yes. I like her face, her skin tone is even.
Yeah, it's a nice feel. It's a nice feel. I'll work with it.
Like I like the shape around her hair, like how the light is reacting around her hair, and the puff of the curls. It looks really filmic, so that's good.
It does. And that's why I was like, okay, is that the Sony? But you know, so once again, I think it's the lens helping that camera, and I know what comes out from that camera, guys. Anyway, keep it moving.
buy a camera. And that's another thing we should talk about. You know, this is a test to see what the image looks like, but there'll be a lot more factors that go into whether you buy one of these cameras than what you see in this footage that we've shot. Because, you know, they have very different features, you use them in very different ways, and yeah, there's a lot of reasons that you might want to.
So I like the Sony look here better than the Red.
And that's where we'll agree to disagree. I like the red. You know, I think I don't know. On lighter skin tones, I don't like that magenta look. I don't. I think it kind of works on darker skin tones, but on lighter skin tones, I think more in the greenish hue works for me. For me, well, taste wise, because if you go back a little bit to the scene to the the young lady before. No, okay, I guess you could play it from there. No, not so far. It was just a right. Play it from here because it will come. And when I tell you pause, you'll pause it right there. Go.
Factors that
Play
go
it.
into whether you buy one of these cameras than what you see in this footage that we've.
All right. You see now here, I can appreciate that a little more than what the Sony produced. I can. To me, once again, to me.
I think I picked the Sony because like the where the light is hitting her face is really hot.
It's harsh, and that's why I looking at color because obviously if you shoot on a raw image that shouldn't have been a problem. I'm just thinking that they just tweaked it bad, but I'm really paying attention to color at this moment. That's, I feel like her skin tone feel like a little bit more real to me. Like when I say like real, I mean like what the eyes would see.
Oh, yeah.
Shot.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they have very different features, you use them in very different ways. And yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Yeah.
You see that skin tone there? Now it looked like it had a little bit of like editing. It almost like looked like, because you know, like look at how her skin got darker, and I know that's not how it looked. And you know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
there's a lot of reasons that you might want to buy a camera depending on the kind of work you do. So this is more of just a side-by-side comparison. This is how one looks, this is how the other. Let's also mention dynamic range. Very, very close, the two cameras. The FX6 has 15 stops of dynamic range. The Komodo has 16 stops. Also, I'm going to throw in another.
Why her face looks so
Yeah, that's a
oily?
nice image too.
Range.
Now you see
very, very close.
clearly you can see that green tone coming in there. You see it? That green hue, clearly. It somewhat looks like what your setup looks like now.
Yeah.
It does, right? Look at the leaf versus, look at your greens, how it's coming in there. Similar.
Yeah.
We can tell she's a little bit lighter than you are, but when you look at the darker parts of her arm, it's kind of meeting the shades on the shadows of your face. So it kind of, you could tell. But let's see what the Sony look like now.
Two cameras. The FX6 has 15 stops of dynamic range. The Komodo has 16 stops. Also, I'm going to throw in another camera to the mix.
It looks like plastic. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, right. So one thing I can tell you that's happening here. Oh, it's at ISO 800, so that's fine. There's no noise. If it was on the 12,000, the second 12,800, then I would have had some concerns. But it's at the base ISO. Well, okay. So here's what my explanation could be for that. You see the highlights hitting up on her face? I think it's just compensating at this point. The camera is compensating. I think so. To give you that 15 stops of dynamic range. Sorry, Sony. Sorry. I apologize. I can't. Okay, John, let's end this.
So this is the surprise camera I talked about earlier, and it's
All right, so this was pretty much it.
To be an ambassador for Sony. Come on, man. What are you doing to me? But at the same time, I cannot lie, guys. I cannot lie.
Yeah. All right, this is when he throws in a third camera.
another full frame camera. I just want to give a shout out as well to everyone that helped on the shoot. If you want to see the full Kinfinity versus Komodo video, head on over to Films by AW.
So this is Kinfinity, this is Sony, and this is Red.
I'll keep it 100 to you, yo. If you really just look at all these images, you just think they have different LUTs on them. You know what I mean?
True.
Like honestly, you just think that they were colored. Obviously, you could see a bigger dynamic range in the Red and the Sony versus the camera on the what camera is that?
That's Kinfinity.
Infinity. Yeah, I wouldn't shoot any one of those scenes and choose the camera below, because obviously it's suffering in brightness and dynamic range by far. Unless you're going, once again, unless you're going for that, guys. If you're going for that dark, moody scene, then that's the camera for you because it can do that. But if you're looking for something that could raise your shadows and give you a bit more of a better dynamic range, then obviously that's not the camera for the job. You know what I mean? Because clearly you can see this, yeah. But you could always compensate with light.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean? It's always up to you. But then once again, we don't know how when we add light, how that actual camera is going to interact with the light. That's what I'm saying. When it
Yeah.
comes to coloring and stuff like that.
That's why it pays to know your camera. Don't just get a new camera because a bunch of YouTubers are getting them, and because it's the in thing right now. Whatever camera you have, make sure you know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah. Well, I have a confession though. I did get my FX3 because
A bunch of
a lot of
YouTubers.
yeah, that follow use it. But I've learned to use it for my needs and the way I want it. So I don't try to use it for the way that they're using it or what they're getting out of it. I try to use it for what I like, what I see. I recreate my own stuff with it. But there are, technicals that you need to follow. There are things you need to know before you get there. It's almost like making a coconut cake. Before you make a coconut cake, you need to know how to make an actual cake. All those nice ingredients in there. You need to know how to make your cake for the texture, for the sweetness, and everything else you need to have in there. I don't know nothing about making cake, but it's just an example, guys. So that you have learned how to make a cake, then you start thinking, what types of cake can I make? It's the same thing with your camera. You learn to use it. You learn your lenses. You learn what your limitations with the ISOs. You learn once you have done these things, then you come in and in post-production, you add your secret sauce. And I promise you, that secret sauce is what's going to separate you from other people. It's going to separate you from me. It's going to separate you from John. It's going to separate you from any other videographer that you like. And hey, guys, listen to me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in trying to be like someone or trying to emulate what someone else is doing. But I've always said this. If I'm trying to emulate you, why would someone hire me for the job? When they could just hire you? I would want them to choose me for what I like and what they've seen me doing. And then like, yo, Kev, can you do this for me? And it's because it's something that I do and I know now I've done it. And let's go back to the cake. Because it's my cake and you like my coconut cake. Nobody knows how much sugar I put in that cake. Nobody knows how much flour. They're going to want to buy Kev's cake and don't want to buy your cake. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say, man.
That's the truth. I mean, it's cool to get inspiration, but don't try to be a carbon copy of someone that you see. Like, come on, be yourself. There's only one you in the entire universe, and there'll never be another. So you are unique. So make sure your video reflects your personality as well. And your clients, you won't get all the clients, obviously. You'll get the clients that like your type of work. So that's just it. All right, so let's go to the last one of the most difficult videos that I've seen in a long time. I've seen this video probably like 2 times and I've gotten it all wrong every single time. Every single time.
I'm ready.
All right. So this is...
With the Vonage Video API, if you can picture it, you can build it.
We just toured so nonstop, making no money. Taco Bell was like the one place where you could have.
So this is actually a good video. 3 cameras.
Does this one say what camera is doing the shooting? I kind of actually want to guess it. Does it say it like the last?
So it has camera A, camera B, and camera C, and at the end, it will show you what it is.
Good. So if we could pause it before, so we could make the guess, that would be good. Because I actually want to make the guess.
Yes. Okay. So these are 3 cameras. The 3 cameras that are being compared is the Red Komodo OG, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K, I think.
Okay, the red Blackmagic and
FX3.
FX3. So here's what I'm gonna do. Instead of recognizing the camera, I'm gonna say which one I like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go.
Oh boy.
I'm telling you, this is the hardest video.
All right, so because Sony is nowhere involved in there, I feel free. All right, so I'm gonna go with. Wow.
Cause remember,
Hold on.
FX3 is in this as well. I think one of these.
is it?
Yeah.
Well, blow me down. So I'm going to try to guess the FX3 image just because I want it. I will go with.
There's way more. There's way more footages. So
I know. I'll go with C. I'll go with C.
okay, see, you might change that coming up.
Wait. You know what? No. Wait. Can you play it one more time? Can you play it? Because where you stopped it is kind of like a weird place. So can you play it one more time? Because certain thing. All right. Okay, go ahead. There's a certain thing I'm. Wow. Oh. All right. So I know the equation because you told me I'd be surprised. So I'm not gonna go with that. But yeah, I went with C because there was something I saw in C that I would normally. You know what? I'm gonna go with A. I'm gonna go with A.
Okay. All right.
With A.
Don't worry.
I'll tell you why I went with A.
All right. So we're not even close to the reveal as yet. He has way more shots.
Okay. So all the shots are in the same order.
Yes.
All right, fine. Then go ahead. I'll tell from certain shots. Keep going.
Okay, cool. You said something?
That I'm hiring this guy to color my images.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, bro.
But I think I figured it out. Go ahead. I figured it out.
Like Tristan said.
I'm sticking with A. Let's keep it moving. I'm sticking with A for Sony. Yes, go Sony.
Okay.
Let's go.
This is tough, bro.
Keep going.
You ready to change yet? I see all the mannerisms. You're going through like 7 different stages of grief right now.
Keep going.
I'm gonna keep going.
Thank you very much. Keep it going. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I swear, like they're interchanging. Yo, something's not adding up. Yo, like in certain scenes, yeah, all right, you know what? Never mind. Keep going. I swear, and I know Sony does in one shot, but in A, and now I'm seeing it in B, and I'm like, what?
I tell you, this is hard. The reveal is the reveal is in 60 seconds.
All right, keep it going.
My man Tristan said seeing some chromatic aberration in A and C. I think B is definitely the red. Okay, so Tristan chose his. He says the red is B.
Tristan, you might want to hold back on that. Tristan, did you see this video already? Don't play with me, bro.
He said Sony is A, red is B, Black Magic is C. All right. We got a verdict. That's his verdict though.
Did say Sony was A, right? But now I'm kind of seeing some B scenes. But anyway, go ahead. I know Sony's definitely not C. Definitely. Keep it moving. Pause. See what I mean, man? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Why A looking like it have a little bit more dynamic range? Why? A little bit.
I wasn't lying when I said this is the hardest video. I left it for the last.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right, keep it going. I'm good. I'm sticking with A for the Sony, and I'm going for the most expensive red camera is the C, and the Black Magic is
B?
Is B.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with that.
All right.
And I'm not changing.
All right, that's your verdict. We got Tristan's verdict. Tristan's verdict says A is Sony, B is red, C is Black Magic, and your verdict, Kev, A is Sony, B is Black Magic, and C is red. Okay, all right. The results are in. Oh, I messed that up. The results are in. Let me get back to it. Boom. A is Komodo, B is the FX3, and C is the Black Magic.
I was wrong everywhere.
Everywhere.
So, what's the moral of this story? No, because I kind of like this. I like this. What is the moral of this story? We're comparing, and I like the fact that they did not put the FX6. They put the FX3.
Yep. But you were right with A having the most dynamic range. That was true. The things that threw me off was the chromatic. Oh my gosh. I messed that up. Let me go back to the video. The thing that messed me up is the chromatic aberration for some of the shots. Let me mute it. Like stuff like this. Like you see? Look right between her.
Yeah, because usually with you seen that, right? That's what I saw, and I was looking at and I looked at how the others manage it. So I'm like, nah, that had to be Sony messing up like that. But once again, that could be just the angle at the time, because I'm guessing at all three cameras, so maybe the red was a little bit off to the left, which had it caught that. You know what I'm saying? But the one in the middle handling it kind of the best.
Yeah.
And that will be the position of the camera.
Yeah. And that B is Sony. B is the FX3.
I'm saying it's a lot of things, man, that comes into play when you try to, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of things, man.
Oh, Chris
And I
said, especially the water bottle shot, most evident the chromatic aberration of A and C. Let's go to that shot. This.
Yeah. And in that shot, I feel like C selling it the most for me, my taste.
Yeah, because if you look at C, look at the right side, you see magenta chromatic aberration.
Yeah.
But you don't see it anymore in A.
Yeah, I like the way in C. I don't. Well, I guess it's because of the placement of the camera. But I kind of like how the highlights playing a little. You could see a little bit more information in C.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bottle is a lot darker in the other two shots, and once again, that could be because of placement, like I said, because light coming into the window, and the other bottles, the light is being blocked by a curtain, and the other one is the wall. So it's a different lighting. So it's kind of hard to make that comparison.
Yeah. So,
But in terms of the coloring, whoever did this, man, kudos to you, bro. It's a good job. Well done.
yeah, like his lighting was on point. That's what I'm
Yeah.
showing. If you got good lighting, you got a good lens. As you see,
He was using?
I think he says it when he was editing.
Okay, did you get it right? I was using different lenses on each camera, so they look a little different, obviously, but in terms of the overall image quality and the color, they don't look that different, at least to my eyes. Now, 10-bit has around 1.
That's where I disagree. If he was using the same lens, on all three of them, we probably might have different results. Because what I've learned with using different lens, they handle color and they handle light completely different depending on the lens. Some of them are more contrasty because if I compare my Tokina Vista Prime with the Sigma Cine 50mm, if I have both of them at 50mm and I put them on the same camera, you'll see that the image looks different on both of them. You should know that as well, because if you use your G Master, I mean, this one is more a bit extreme, because if you use your G Master on your FX3 versus like a Nisi on it, like it's night and day.
Yes. Nothing that, I mean, yes, you're absolutely right. But even in the photo world, depending on what brand of lens you use, you do see a big difference in the image and the way it's captured, So I guess the lens is the eyes of the cameraman. The sensor just helps it to capture it. So there must be a difference. There's no way you could be using a different lens on a camera and not see a difference.
Right.
Then what's the point? Whole point. What's the point? What's the point of it? Yeah, I mean, there are some cheaper lenses that match up to what other expensive lenses might do, but there are other factors involved, such as build quality, longevity. You know what I'm saying? How long will that lens last you? If it could take I'm not telling you go drop your lens, but can it take a little fall and not?
Yeah.
And you would have to send it. It's stuff like that. So there's a lot of factor to take into consideration when answering something like that.
And some of the cheaper lenses, you would deal with more chromatic aberration.
Correct.
That's 100% a fact.
And coming from the photo world, just to adjust it, I'm telling you, I've owned G Master lenses, I've owned Zeiss lenses, I've owned the G lenses, and I'm telling you, the G Masters, they take care of chromatic aberration very well. Like if you want, one of the reasons to not have to go into Lightroom and edit out, or even in video, let's stick to video, and edit out chromatic aberration, which is a little bit harder in video to do. You would want to go with the GM lenses for that ultimately. If you're a Sony guy and have to have Sony lenses, yeah. And I'm glad that you brought that up, John, the chromatic aberration, because in video it's a lot harder to deal with. It's a lot harder.
But yeah, man, how you like these videos, man?
I like them. They encourage me. I wouldn't lie, because if somebody could go, and once again, which brings me back to my point that I was saying. Once you have this tool, you gotta now figure out, because clearly he figured out what are the limitations of all these cameras, how they can be used. Because guess what? Now he making coconut cake with all of them. If you understand what I'm. So that's what I'm. So as long as you understand what your camera can do for you and what you need to get it to that point, and you do it, then you'll be fine. You will have no problem with whatever you're using, whatever system you're using. Ultimately, everyone has their dream camera, or what camera that they want to use or would like to use, but the best one is the one you have.
And get to know that. As long as you get to know that and get to know the principles, the principles transcend from camera to camera. The principles stay the same. You got to get your exposure right. You got to get your settings of your camera right. It's surprising. Some people would think like the more expensive cameras are much harder to use when it comes to settings and etc. It's actually the opposite. Like things like the Arri Alexa and even many Reds, and I think even the Sony Venice, they're pretty intuitive when it comes to settings and etc.
What I would say, they require more help to use.
Yes, they're not a run and gun camera. I mean, you can technically use a Red for run and gun, but it's not built for that. It's built for a team.
Yeah. I would agree. But it, like I said before, is whatever you like, whatever works for you, and you have it presently. Because if you look at the last video we watched, with the last video we watched, not only did he apply his edit and style in there, but his lighting was on point.
His lighting was really good.
Single image, it was on point, and to me, that's what drew most of the interest in the images. Once again, you work on your lighting, man. You use your camera. I don't care what lens you got. At least start somewhere and start seeing the imperfections, and then justify why you need what you need to get. But for now, make it work, man. I've seen amazing videos with iPhones. We're not even gonna go there, but you know what I mean. We're not going
Correct.
there. So make it work, guys. Make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Don't be so quick to spend, especially in the cinematographer world. Don't be quick to spend so much money on something, because have this in your mind. If you look at Kev's rig, and if you look at my rig, they're two different cameras to solve two different problems. All rigging really is to solve a particular problem that you have when you're shooting. My rig might be a little elaborate, but guess what? My time when it comes to shooting and changing lenses and etc. is way quicker than if I was to have a smaller rig. Kev's rig, whatever he has on his camera rig, and the microphone and the monitor that he uses, it checks off a whole lot of check boxes when it comes to solving particular problems. So you gotta get these specific equipment to solve particular problems. Now, if you get an equipment and it doesn't solve a problem for you, you're just getting it for getting its sake, it's a waste of money for you.
And I guess we can attest to that. Some of us have bought some stuff that we just watch in a bag or in a box. Until this day, we haven't used it.
Yeah.
I have.
Me too. That is the drone and the gimbal, the RS2, man.
Yeah, I could say. Look, this is what I've said. I have used my RS2, but I have not used it to the extent that I should. But I do know how to use it. I do know how to set it up. I do know if I have to use it, I could use it. And I kind of found a new love for shooting handheld, and which is something I've also I'm trying to master, because I've seen some really good handheld videos, man, and I'm like, man, why am I worrying about carrying all this equipment when I could just have my camera in my hand and create such a insightful video? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
All right.
And confession, guys. One last confession. I I purchased the not knocking them, but I purchased the wireless Rode Go 2, man, and I never used them. I literally never used them. And I don't like on camera video. I don't like on camera audio. I'm sorry. I don't like it at all. I'm sorry. I don't like it. So with this said, I do now for my little bit of vlogging. I use the Sony mic just because I can attach it on the camera and just not worry about it. But I ain't got time to pin on mic and all of that, man. No time for that, especially for little videos like that. You know what I'm saying?
And maybe for the next cinematographer, like episode 3, we should do like audio tests. Some people tell me I'm good at audio. I don't believe that. Like I'm definitely still learning.
Nah, you're definitely doing it. Well, if you learning, you're in Harvard. Put it that way. You're going to Harvard.
But yeah, audio.
Harvard. Yeah, you do your thing.
Audio is like probably like 70 to 75% when it comes to shooting film and etc. Audio is that important.
And we had that discussion on Sunday, so
yes,
it's crazy.
So Kev, tell the people where they can reach you at.
All right, so you could reach me at Kevin_Natrum_photography on IG, and you could also reach me on KNP Media, on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Platforms I'm on.
Yes, sir.
And I also I do have a website, and if you go on my Instagram, you will find it in the bio. Yep.
Yes, sir. So I appreciate you for coming on. You're gonna be on the next episode. This is my co-host, people. So get used to his face,
Get used to us.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some. Listen. If it's one channel you would like to subscribe to, if there's one channel you would like to follow and pin in that notification bell that anytime we come live, that you're here to receive this wisdom and knowledge and this entertainment, if you don't click that notification button, you'll be missing out. I'm promising you guys. Click it and be a part of this lounge. Come chill with us, man. We want you chill with us, man. We want the questions. We want the comments. We want everything. We ready for this, guys. Let's get down to this videography business and audio business. Anything, lenses, cameras. Let's get down to it. Are you with me? If you with me in the comments, just put a thumbs up or something. Man, we here. We ready. Let's go, John.
Yes, sir. We're ready. So I promise we're not gonna take a long hiatus, like how we did between episode 1 and episode 2. We're gonna try to be definitely more consistent with this thing. Don't worry about it.
Thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go, man.
I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. I appreciate you guys showing up. I hope your family is fine. I hope you're doing fine mentally. And yeah, man, we're gonna catch you guys on the next one. Just make sure you get out there and shoot. Use your iPhone, use your Android, whatever you have in your hand. Get out there and shoot, and then edit it, look at it, study it, and see how you can improve on it. Yeah, so this is John and Kev from the Cinematographer's Corner. We're gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.